We're back. Happy Monday. We have safely arrived at another week, last full week, quite frankly, of October. 1 week from today is Halloween. It is the 24th day of October. I am Dan Kuntz, and it's good to get us going here. It's a little on the cool side, 45 degrees, in for some very active weather all week long. Going to see some rain, going to see some wind, going to see temperatures hovering right around normal after that abnormally long streak, nearly a month worth of days with obscenely warm temperatures, and of course the smoke and everything. It's all gone. In fact, October came roaring right in just as scheduled on Friday, and it's going to be October weather-wise for this whole week, including some measurable snow in the mountain passes. Stevens going to get 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of snow today up on Stevens Pass. Blewett is going to miss it, and so is I-90. But if you're traveling over US 2, you can get a little bit of snow, which is fine by me. It's going to help put out the fires, which are still there. They're just kind of really gone to sleep, hibernating, if you will. Speaking of hibernating, there was not a bear that was hibernating in Leavenworth on Saturday morning. That'll be our lead story. You probably heard about that. Sports, look who's in first place in the NFC West. Yeah, Seahawks, their most impressive victory of the year so far. Plus, we'll revisit the weekend in high school sports, and we know who's going to be playing in the 118th edition of the World Series at the end of the week. And in the back half of the program, I had a chance last week to sit down with both candidates for the soon-to-be vacant Chelan County District Court Judge seat. Judge Ray Four is retiring, and Jon Volyn and Alan Blackman are running to replace Judge Four on the Chelan County District Court Judge seat. Today you're going to get to know Jon Volyn. Tomorrow you get to know Alan Blackman. We'll have those interviews for you in the back half of the program. Jon Volyn does the honors today on this Monday. Let's go. 45 degrees. Let's see what we have out there. Relative humidity is where it should be, by the way, 61%. That's good. The wetter the air, the better it is for the fires. Nice view from Wenatchee Heights, looking right down Wenatchee. You can see the avenue, Mission, and Chelan, the three big ways to get in and around the Wenatchee side of the river. And you can see Birch Mountain and Sunny Slope and Old Station. That's always good. That was not the case for a long time. Camera number 2. The good captain says, let's do a black and white. Now, of course, this is, we're not to sunrise yet. Sunrise isn't for another, is that infrared? Is that color? If it's color, it doesn't look real color to me. Sunrise doesn't come up for another half an hour, 7:33 this morning. Sunset 5:57. That's 10 hours and 24 minutes of daylight. When it gets dark enough, the cameras switch the way they operate until it gets light enough, and they automatically switch to color. But we can also do that manually. And I also don't know what it is that we're looking at. Maybe hose landing? It's according to Captain Wagner, it's just a place. That's Stamen Flats. Okay, well, there you go. Good morning to Stamen Flats. How are you? Camera number 3. And, ooh, it's a little misty, a little cloudy, I want to say maybe, let me think here. Boy, you're kind of throwing me for a loop. Wait a minute, Blag Mountain. That's Blag looking back at Leavenworth, I believe. Blag Mountain is high atop Peshastin. A lot of relay stations, transmitters, repeaters, and things on top of Blag Mountain, because that's how these things work. And we're looking at Leavenworth on this Monday morning. And finally, camera 4. Ooh, is that snow? Looks like a little bit of snow. I don't know. That is infrared. That may be up to Lake Wenatchee we're going there, Captain. Up to Lake Wenatchee. That's good. I hope you had a lot of rain. I hope you get some snow up at Lake Wenatchee way. We want to get this White River fire gone and toast. It's hard to believe we're still talking about fires that are still burning with a week to go in October. It's almost to November. Ooh, he's moving the camera. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I think that's Kaler Glen down there. Nicely done, Captain Wagner. So you can't quite make out Lake Wenatchee, but trust me, it's there. And it's cloudy and about 41 up at the lake right now. All right. We have this slide to show for you to let you know exactly what we're dealing with. And basically, it's one system after another going to start parading in to north central Washington for all of this week. System today, light rain in the Wenatchee Valley, snow in the upper elevations. The snow level is going to be right around 4,000 feet for a while anyway, and then it's going to go down towards the middle of the week. But when it goes down, also it's not going to be quite as wet. Mountain passes, again, for Stevens, they're going to get anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of snow today. 1 to 3 inches of snow for Stevens Pass tonight. No real snow in the forecast for Tuesday. And then Tuesday night, when the next system comes through, they're expecting an additional 2 to 4 inches on Stevens Pass on Tuesday night. Again, Stevens is going to get some snow. North Cascades Highway is going to get some snow. Doesn't look like Snoqualmie Pass or Blue Pass are really going to get much snow at all. We're looking at rain down here, and temperatures right around normal. Our normal high this time of the year is 56 from the National Weather Service. We are looking at rain today. Light rain in the morning, light rain in the afternoon, no big downpour. We'll get up to right around 56, 57, give or take a couple, right at normal. Overnight lows getting chilly, 35 for the overnight low tonight. This is why we're talking about some snow in the upper elevations. But the chance of rain tonight whittles down to about nothing. Slight chance of rain, about a 30% chance of rain on Tuesday. If it happens, it'll be in the afternoon. We'll get up to about 55 degrees. What the heck is that behind the weather graphic? 54 degrees on Wednesday with a chance of rain, only about a 20% chance of rain there. And we're going to be hovering right around that. We're not going to see a lot of sunshine this week, with the exception of Wednesday. For the most part, clouds be doing its thing. This is really what you would call typical October weather. So some light rain off and on, snow in the upper elevations, and quite frankly, we'll take it. We're still in a drought, a big-time drought. Measurable precipitation is welcome for us here. 7 minutes after the hour, a 1 minute break, and then your headlines on this Monday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
I'm Kim Schreier, and I approve this message.
Over 500,000 veterans call Washington State home, and many depend on the VA for their health care. But Matt Larkin told voters he wants to defund the VA completely. And if Larkin gets his way, that means veterans' hospitals would close down. Vets would be forced to pay more for prescriptions, and millions would lose the benefits they've earned. Matt Larkin. Reckless, dangerous, totally out of touch.
Hey folks, Lehman here with Crown Furniture and Mattress. Folks, there's no question if you're looking for top quality furniture and mattresses, Crown Furniture and Mattress is the place for you. Whether it's FlexSteel's patented blue steel spring, Englander's 120 years of innovation, or Stan's incredible comfort. Folks, we have it all. So stop by and see us today at 736 South Wenatchee Avenue.
43 degrees with some clouds, hit and miss showers off and on throughout the course of the day, really for the course of the week. Sometimes quite a bit, sometimes not at all. Temperatures right around normal, right around mid-50s with some snow in the mountain passes. It's 8 minutes after the hour. Department of Fish and Wildlife officers shot and killed an adult female black bear Saturday that had mauled a Leavenworth woman near her home. The agency said the attack occurred as the 68-year-old woman let her dog out at her property. That's near Commercial Street and 2nd Street. That's adjacent to Enchantment Park in Blackbird Island. Happened about 7 a.m., we're told, on Saturday morning. The bear charged, leaving her with injuries to her head and lower body. Her wounds not life-threatening. She was treated at Central Washington Hospital. Wildlife agents used a Karelian bear dog later that morning to corner and kill the adult in the park area. The adult was accompanied by 2 9-month-old cubs. They were tranquilized and turned over to the Progressive Animal Welfare Society of Linwood for rehabilitation. The city of Leavenworth closed Enchantment Park and the surrounding trails on Saturday after the attack. It's the first time Fish and Wildlife has lethally removed a bear from the park area since 2019. A 53-year-old woman was killed in a house fire Thursday night outside of Moses Lake. It also hospitalized a man with serious injuries. The fire broke out at about 7:35 Thursday evening at a duplex in the 8900 block of Craw Lane. That's in the Larson community. Grant County Sheriff's Deputy Kyle Foreman said when fire crews arrived, one half of the duplex was fully engulfed and they were unable to rescue Rosalind Dickinson. An unidentified 56-year-old man in the home was taken to Samaritan Hospital to be treated for smoke and heat inhalation. Firefighters found Dickinson's body at about 10:45 on Thursday night. The Grant County Fire Marshal is investigating the cause of the fire. Foreman said no foul play is suspected. A Chelan County father's lawsuit can proceed against the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families, alleging the agencies failed to protect 2-year-old Rustin Ackerson from fatal injuries while in his mother's care. The child died in East Wenatchee in 2017 from massive brain trauma. Now, police never could prove who harmed the boy, but he had previously suffered injuries consistent with abuse and was the subject of a Child Protective Services investigation at the time. DCYF sought to dismiss the case, but Judge Kristen Ferreira ruled on Friday in favor of Rustin's father, Ian Atkerson, saying the allegation should go to trial and should be heard by a jury.
So what we've got here is a situation where there were several calls to CPS over the course of several weeks regarding concerning bruising, abnormal bruising, and broken limbs, that there was not sufficient information at the time to have determined who was causing it, but that it was happening in the care of one of the parents. I understand Mr. Ackerson's argument to say CPS should have removed Rustin from both of their care, which is often what will happen, especially when we have a family law case where it isn't clear what's happened, but we know that there's a child that's being harmed. So I am finding that there are genuine issues of material fact that prevent summary judgment dismissal based on the state's motion. So I'm denying summary judgment dismissal.
Last week, we gave you excerpts from the interviews Jefferson Robbins conducted with the 2 candidates for Chelan County Sheriff. There's another high-profile race in Chelan County. Of course, that's the campaign for County Commissioner. Leavenworth City Council member Ann Hesburgh and Cashmere restaurant owner Sean Smith are both in the running for that open seat. You'll be able to watch the interviews in full on our television station at the times you see there. They'll also be available on our website. Here's a sneak preview of the interviews with Hesburgh and Smith.
I was raised in Wenatchee, and I've lived in Leavenworth for about 15 years. Service has been a part of who I am since I was young. I was brought up that way through the great example brought on by my parents when I was being raised. And I have really enjoyed being a part of serving residents of Chelan County in lots of different areas, be it on nonprofit boards or through the Planning Commission at the City of Leavenworth, and now on the City Council in Leavenworth. And I really enjoy that type of public service.
And you've served on the City Council in Leavenworth for about how long now?
This is my 3rd year of my term.
Very good. And previous to that, I think you were also serving on some of the commissions that serve the city as well.
Yes, I've been on a couple of different committees. I was on the Residential Advisory Committee for a little over 10 years, in addition to being on the Planning Commission. And the City Council has several different committees that council members are a part of, as well as some other subcommittees that are appointed by the mayor, and I've been involved in several of those as well.
I'm from Cashmere. I've been here for about 48 years now. My parents moved here accidentally when the car broke down on Blewett Pass, and Cashmere is the place that they stopped to get it repaired, and we never left. I graduated Cashmere High School in 1989 and went off to Northwest Nazarene University down in Idaho and met a phenomenal woman down there that ended up becoming my wife, and brought her back to the Valley in '95. And was able to start our own business in 1997 here in Wenatchee. And it's the Walkabout Grill. It's been there for 27 years now. And we're going on our 8th year up in Leavenworth with the 2nd location. So we're very connected to this valley and very concerned about the health of the valley and the economic health of the valley. And that keeps us here.
And finally, take a look at that, because that's what you're going to be seeing at the intersection of 9th Street and Valley Mall Parkway starting today. That intersection will be fully closed as they're continuing the installation of traffic lights. Of course, the intersection of 9th and Valley Mall Parkway is being converted from a 4-way stop to a regulated traffic stop. The closure is expected to last until November 4th. It's a $1.8 million project. It also includes repaving and widening the sidewalks on 9th Street from the intersection down to Sunset Highway. Signs will direct motorists to a detour route. You'll be using Baker Avenue if you need to be in that area. Construction is expected to be completed by the end of November. Then the traffic poles will be installed next spring. And that is the news. At 1/4 after the hour, we will have a newscast for you, as we always do, unless it's a holiday. or we don't feel like it, but we feel like it. Monday, it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10. The news with Grant and Eric with the preview. Here's Grant.
Good Monday morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we will show you the new redistricting plan for the Wenatchee School District. Cloudy, windy, and rainy weather expected in our Monday weather forecast. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom has weekend high school sports results. A look at the Major League Baseball playoffs and scores from the Kraken and Wild. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. And if you have a news tip, and we've gotten some pretty cool stories, some significant news stories, because you folks have pointed us in the right direction, you're more than welcome to do so. Look at the bottom of your screen there. If you look at the top of your screen, you don't see much of anything. Our website is ncwlife.com. You can get a hold of us that way. You can go to our Facebook page and use the Messenger app, or you can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com. For local football fans, it's a pretty good weekend. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. Mondays are happy hour all day long at Bob's Burgers and Brew in East Wenatchee. Great deals on appetizers, martinis, specialty drinks, wine, well drinks, and draft beers. Bob's Burgers and Brew in East Wenatchee. Come on in. They look forward to serving you.
Bob's Burgers and Brews in East Wenatchee. Come enjoy great food, great service, and a great time. Only the best for our guests. We look forward to serving you. Stop on by today.
Introducing Alpine Airman. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
17 minutes after the hour, Seahawks, nice victory, a statement victory, if you will, on the road against a division rival. You want to win those, and they did. 37-23, Kenneth Walker III. He rushed for 168 yards, scored twice. Geno Smith found Marquise Goodwin and a couple of touchdown passes. Afterwards, Coach Pete Carroll said this was as close to a complete team win as they've had this year.
We really had a really solid football game. You know, anytime we can go out and run the ball for a bundle, we had 160 or something, and take care of the football like Geno did, throwing it 20 for 27, you know, really efficient stuff, and then play defense to complement that. We know that we're going to be good on teams, so it just fits together really well. To do it really 2 weeks in a row, a little bit, even we made more progress in this game. I think all around. It feels good to our guys. They can feel it. They can feel their defense. They can feel what they're doing and how they fit together. And it's this is what can happen, you know, when you start moving. So we're really excited about it and looking forward to getting it going again next week.
Seahawks had their longest drive of the year in total possession at the start of the third quarter. They had the ball for 10 minutes, eventually scored. And quarterback Geno Smith said that's the type of drives that shows people exactly how good the Seahawks can be.
Every game is a championship game, and that's what they feel like, man. Like ebbs and flows in the games, ups and downs. We get momentum, they get momentum. And I think, you know, what the best teams do is there's moments in the game, defining moments where, you know, you can really go and take control of the game. And I think there in the third quarter, there was a spot for us to do that. And just to keep those drives alive, I think we converted a few third downs. That just says a lot about our team and our offense. And we just got to continue to build, continue to get better, and, you know, look at those moments and say, hey, this is what we can do, and set that standard for ourselves.
And by golly, look at the standings. The Seahawks are all by themselves in first place in the NFC West at 4-3. Kansas City blew out San Francisco in the second half. They won 44-23. The Rams did not play over the weekend. Seattle's back home this Sunday. The 6-1 New York Giants coming to town. That game will be on Fox at 1:25. The Huskies improved to 3-2 in Pac-12 play with a win over Cal. On Saturday night, Michael Penix Jr. threw the go-ahead 14-yard touchdown pass to Jalen McMillan early in the fourth quarter. Huskies beat the Bears 28-21. Penix has thrown for over 300 yards in all 8 games. that they played this year. Freddie Robertson connected with Gunnar Talkington from 20 yards out in the fourth quarter to lead Eastern over Cal Poly, 17-10. West Texas A&M ran out to a 28-0 halftime lead, and then they cruised from there. They beat Central Washington in Canyon, Texas. The final was 35-16. The Cougars had the weekend off. Staying on the football field, back to Friday night under the lights. Eastmont celebrating senior night. And the Big Nine has gotten a lot more interesting because West Valley knocks off Moses Lake 41-35. Eastmont shuts out Ike 48-0. So we have a three-way tie atop the league standings. Moses Lake, Eastmont, and Sunnyside, they're all 4-1 with 1 week to go. Colby King only rushed 5 times, but he scored on runs of 38 and 64 yards. He had 132 yards on the night. Eastmont beats Ike 48-0 on senior night. Luke Gale also threw a couple of touchdown passes. The Wildcats are now 4-1 in conference play. Eric Grandstrom and Grant Olson had the call right here on the NCW Live channel.
Swap receivers one side to the other. Oldenkamp comes left as a slot back. The snap is back. The ball's loose. And Eastmont trying to cover it back there. And it's going to be Eastmont football. Praiser will cover it. 3-man defensive front down lineman here on a 1st and goal for Eastmont. In motion is Ruffins. They'll hand it to him, run around the left side. And Ruffins will walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Eastmont. We'll need an ice bath after this one. Handoff, second man through. It's Colby King. Look out for that big play. And he gets through the man and gets all the way into the end zone for the touchdown from 38 yards.
Easy.
2nd down and 3 for the Wildcats. And here comes Colby King trying to get it around the corner. Ruffins with the block. He got the corner, and he's gone. Look out. Colby King cuts it back, and he'll take it all the way to the end zone for the 64-yard touchdown run. 2nd and short. Do they go for the end zone? Nope. Handoff Peterson up the middle. Peterson just gets behind that big offensive line. Loose at the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown. Splits out wide to the right. And if you're one of the big uglies up front, as we call them, you love blocking for a good running back.
Absolutely.
Throw to Ruffins. He'll collect it at the 10. Dances away from a man at the 5. Will go into the end zone. Touchdown, Eastmont. 1st and goal from the 10. Motion man is King. Throw over the middle. The ball caught.
Beautiful pass.
And right there, Landon Moore with the touchdown grab for Eastmont. Checks over to his coach's staff on the sideline. Gets the snap, throws out in the end zone, and it is intercepted by, I believe, Seth Stone with the interception. On a 3rd down coming up from inside the 10-yard line. Again, handoff is Landon Moore. Moore will pick his way to the 5, will pick his way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Proud of our kids tonight. I thought they competed across the board, offense, defense. Even after some miscues, I thought the setback comeback was awesome. Graydon Schneider, muffed the punt, and then the defense got the goal line stand. Ike, we came out a little sluggish, called a timeout. Seth Stone makes a pick in the end zone, preserved the shutout. And then I'm really proud of our JV guys getting in at the end and moving the ball and getting a touchdown on them. So that was awesome.
Elsewhere, in courtesy of our friends at Les Schwab, West Valley celebrated senior night. Quarterback Skylar Castle throwing for 446 yards, 5 touchdowns. The Rams beat Moses Lake. Coming up this week, it's Eastmont at Moses Lake. Wenatchee will host West Valley. OMAC finished their Caribou Trail League schedule undefeated. They beat Cascade. Cashmere wins the 69th Battle of the Old Bronze Shoe. They beat Chelan 41-7. Quincy won a non-league game on the road at Medical Lake 43-10. In CWAC play, Othello had his game at Kelso canceled. Ellensburg edged East Valley, afraid of surprised Prosser, and Sela beat up on Grandview. In Central Washington B-League play on Friday night, Lake Roosevelt and Oroville's game was canceled. Bridgeport forfeited to Soap Lake. Okanagan blasted Manson 61-18. Antioch won a close one with Waterville Mansfield, and Brewster beat Tenasket. To the Les Schwab soccer scoreboard, girls soccer over the weekend, Patera shut out Manson. OMAC beat Bridgeport. Okanagan topped Highland. Davis won in a penalty kick shootout over Moses Lake, and Eastmont blasted Sunnyside. Prep volleyball on Saturday. Quincy swept Royal. Freeman beat Cashmere. Chelan topped Lakeside out of 9 Mile Falls. Antioch stopped Soap Lake. Chelan edged Freeman. Cashmere swept 3 from Lakeside. OMAC shut out Waterville Mansfield. Lake Roosevelt and Brewster never got going. We'll be courtside at Wenatchee High School tomorrow night. Panthers host Moses Lake. It's senior night. Eric with the call. Ooh, I like that graphic. That's kind of cool. We'll have it for you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. The Wenatchee Wild came up short in their home opening games at the Town Toyota Center on Friday and Saturday. West Cologne beat Wenatchee for the 3rd time this year. On Friday night, they beat the Wild 3-1. Then on Saturday, it was closer, but Penticton came out on top 4-2. Wenatchee's back on the road at Prince George this Friday and Saturday. They'll return home Friday, November 8th, against the Mayor Centennials. The Kraken went 1-1 on the road on the NHL over the weekend. On Friday, Seattle came on top of Colorado, 3-2. But on Sunday, it didn't go well. Kraken couldn't hold on to a 4-3 lead. They surrendered 2 goals in the third period, and they lost to Chicago 5-4. Coach Dave Haxtell said Sunday was a game they just let slip away.
Disappointing loss. I mean, but we did a lot of things that will end up getting you beat on the road. Including you can look at our our performance in face-offs, specialty teams, really, including a shorthanded goal that really feeds them and gives them life in this hockey game. Down to probably most importantly, just the way we checked and played without the puck in the last 45 minutes of this hockey game.
Next up for the Kraken, they'll be back home Tuesday against the Sabres at 7 o'clock. And finally, we're good to go for the World Series, Houston and Philadelphia. We'll do the honors. The Astros complete a 4-game sweep of the American League Championship Series last night. 6-5 come from behind win over my Yankees. Jordan Alvarez's RBI base hit in the top of the 7th tied it. Alex Bregman's RBI base hit won it for Houston. Bryce Harper's 2-run home run in the bottom of the 8th inning was the game winner and the series clincher. Phillies beat the Padres 4-3. Philadelphia advances to the World Series. They won the National League Championship Series 4-1. The 118th World Championship of Baseball begins at Minute Maid Park Friday night on Fox. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Monday, the 24th day of October. I could have chosen United Nations Day. It was on this date that they laid the foundation, the cornerstone, if you will, for the United Nations building in Manhattan. I could have chosen National Food Day. Didn't even know that existed. It's National Bologna Day. My bologna has a first name. It's Oscar. I'm not going to do it. Of course, bologna comes from Bologna, Italy. That's the sausage that they made in Bologna, Italy. But the bologna as we know it today, the Italians, don't get credit for that. It's the German immigrants who really got into bologna. And then when the German immigrants came to this country in the 19th centuries and in the early part of the 20th century, they brought their bologna with them. But nobody could really make it the way they wanted it to, so they kind of faked it. And they made their own version of bologna, especially German butchers in Pennsylvania really kind of got a hold of bologna, and they created their own version of bologna. Bologna really got popular during the Great Depression because it was cheap meat, about as cheap as you can get. So pack yourself a bologna sandwich with cheese, mustard, and lettuce, and enjoy your bologna today. This show was full of sandwiches. 28 minutes after the hour, today in history, it was her 63rd birthday. So what did Annie Edson Taylor do for his 63rd birthday? She went over Niagara Falls in a barrel and she lived. October 24th, 1901. Annie Taylor was broke. She had no money. So she did this as a publicity stunt to make money, which she didn't do. By the way, it was a specially designed barrel. It was made of oak and iron. They put a mattress inside of it. A couple of days before, they put a cat in it. It went over the falls. The cat survived, a little banged up, it survived. And the nanny said, I'll do it. Nobody really wanted to help her out because they said this is just suicide, but she did it. She went over Niagara Falls in a barrel. She was a little banged up, but otherwise okay, and she didn't make any money. But she did go over Niagara Falls in a barrel, starting one of the stupidest and most dangerous traditions in this country's history. Don't do it, is what she said afterwards. Black Thursday, October 24th, 1929. We're going to revisit this twice, both today and at the end of the week. Stocks have been sliding, and then they kind of corrected a little bit, but then they would slide a little bit more. But it was kind of gradually dipping down. It had been for about a month since the Labor Day weekend of 1929, and then things really went cattywampus on the afternoon of Thursday, October 24th, 1929, when the stocks really took a tank. But this was a cakewalk compared to what happened the following Tuesday. We'll talk about that at the end of the week. Things started really going bad. Happy birthday to the busiest bridge in the world. The GW, as they call it, the George Washington Bridge, connecting Manhattan and New Jersey, opened to traffic on this date 91 years ago today, October 21st, 1931. 300,000 vehicles a day cross the George Washington Bridge. 14 lanes on 2 decks. That's about 110 million automobiles a year. The George Washington Bridge was finished 6 months ahead of schedule and $15 million under budget. Try that. Nowadays, it costs you to cross the George Washington Bridge from New Jersey into New York City. It costs the average automobile about $16. That's the toll, New Jersey to New York. And as always, it doesn't cost you a dime to travel from New York City to New Jersey over the GW, which is 91 years old today. And finally, 68 years ago today, hello, Ike, South Vietnam here. The French pulled out. We're on our own. What do you say, Ike? You want to give us a little hand in political support? What do you say? Ike said, if you prove to me you're going to reform your government, we're in. We'll throw our lot in with South Vietnam. Ike told South Vietnam, we're going to help you out. 68 years ago today, on this date of 1954. And down the hill, the boulder rolls. 31 minutes after the hour, birthdays. I met this guy when they were in Wenatchee filming Surviving the Game. F. Murray Abraham came into my record store. I was happy because he was the only one who came in at the time. It was his day off. He bought about $120 worth of music, made me feel good. I asked if I could call him F. He said no. F. Murray Abraham, of course, won the Oscar for Amadeus back in 1984. F is the stage name. His actual name is Murray Abraham. He added the F. Yeah, I got to meet him when he was in town filming Surviving the Game. And he was in a very serious auto accident while he was in the Wenatchee Valley filming Surviving the Game. Maybe he shouldn't have made the movie. F. Murray Abraham is 83 years old today. And I always get grief from all of my viewers who say, hey, we follow the motocross Grand Prix, the Italian motocross Grand Prix. You never mentioned Danilo Petrucci. So there he is. He's the great Italian motorcycle racer. He's 32 years old today. Wanted to make that up to all of my viewers who follow the motorcycle Grand Prix. 32 minutes after the hour, going to take a break. Got an opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and then my interview with Jon Volyn, who is looking to become the next Chelan County District Court Judge. He does the honors with my interview today. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Funny thing about time, when you're young, summers seem to last forever. And then, before you know it, you're attending more retirement parties than you are baby showers. This is when you'll appreciate our own homegrown, nonprofit, Heritage Heights, working to provide every senior housing option our families might need, right here in the beautiful Lake Chelan Valley. Find out more at heritageheights.org.
Don't make plans to store your boat for the off-season until you've checked out the Super Package from Bob File Boats and Motors. With this package, you just drop your boat off for winterizing, and they take it from there. When you pick it up in the spring, it'll be ready to go for the next season. There are too many features in the Super Package to list here, so get the details. 509-884-3558.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
Haunted Mansion returns to Lake Chelan. It's Harvest by Day. Haunted by Night. Experience the second annual Haunted Mansion all October long. Bring the whole family to experience fun harvest and haunted activities like the haunted house, haunted graveyard, pumpkin walk, pumpkin float, scarecrow competition, dog costume contest, and so much more. Get tickets to this year's bigger, scarier haunted house and get details on all the free activities by visiting hauntedmansion.com. That's hauntedmansion.com.
Hi, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Renaissance artist Michelangelo. Now, come on, that man, he was an incredible genius, and his sculptures are nothing short of miraculous. Good grief. Thinking of him often makes me wonder, where are the similar geniuses of today? I have to admit, among others, I think Pete Townsend of The Who is one. Really. I mean, despite his drinking, drugging, and libertine lifestyle, which actually, frankly, puts him in the company of other artistic geniuses, his creation of the rock opera Tommy, as well as many of his other works, puts him right up there. Now, Alan Turing, the father of the theoretical science that broke the Nazi naval Enigma code, is certainly another. And another one of my favorites, a comic genius, Steve Harvey of Family Feud. Oh, come on, that guy is incredible. Tell me I'm wrong. Well, maybe not as genius as Michelangelo, but genius in a different way. Steve Harvey. Gotcha, dude. Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
Hi, my car's making a funny noise.
Not a problem. We'll take care of you.
Global Car Care's technicians are ASE Master Techs and well-versed in the more refined methods of vehicular diagnostics.
Number 3 piston and rings have a slight loss of compression, down to 108 pounds. Your transmission is slipping. You're gonna need a service.
Looks like you all set.
These guys? They're good.
Oh, and your spare is flat.
Global Car Care, Wenatchee's top shop.
Hi, this is Kelly, owner of the Original Children's Shop in downtown Wenatchee. We carry the latest in quality children's wear like Riley & Crew, Kite Baby, Little Sleepies, and more. Come visit us for mommy and me styles, diaper bags and strollers, and great books and toys for all ages. I look forward to meeting you soon at the Original Children's Shop.
Welcome back to the program on November 8th. There's a lot of things on your ballot, but one important position cannot be overlooked, and that is Chelan County District Court Judge, a job that doesn't come open particularly often. For a long, long time, it was pretty much Tom Warren's baby. But over the last 15 years, there's been quite a bit of turnover, as a matter of fact, in the district courts for Chelan County. And there are two candidates vying to replace Judge Four, who's retiring. Good for him. One of them is Alan Blackman, who we'll be talking to in the next couple of days. But first doing the honors, batting leadoff, is Jon Volyn, who joins us here on the program. Good to see you, my friend.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for letting me bat leadoff. I did play baseball in college, so it feels appropriate. But I also want to say thank you. I'm a fan of the show. I know you do what you do because you care about the community. So thank you for your efforts.
And I get paid a lot of money.
Of course.
Ridiculous.
Of course. I know everyone's vying for that 25 cents an hour.
You mentioned baseball in college. Give us a little bit of your background. Obviously, you're a member of the bar in good standing. You don't have to go that far, but go back as far as you wish.
Sure. So I'm Washington, born and raised. I have been a trial lawyer for the last 22 years. I've done everything civil, everything criminal. So I've been a partner in really big firms. I've been a partner in small firms. I've been a solo practitioner. So I have tried and litigated every single sort of civil main issue. There's some specialty issues like bankruptcy that most lawyers don't do. But everything really out there on the civil side I've done and done at a high level. And I've always done the criminal side. And I've been a prosecutor at times, never solely a prosecutor, but I have experience with that as well.
And that differentiates you a little bit from Alan Blackman, who's been basically a prosecutor for most of his professional life.
Yeah, so it's entirely different. There's some important points there. One is obviously the experience. In district court, you see a lot of cases, and there's a grab bag of issues. And you need to know things like contracts and wills and estates and insurance and injury, because these things all have an interplay. So it's important to have that background to be able to appropriately rule from the bench. But additionally, there's a skill set as a private attorney to representing individuals. So you have that face-to-face conversation with them about a legal context with their options in a framework where they can be very stressed and it can be very pressure laden for them. That's very similar to conversations that a judge has with people before him on the bench. And that's an important thing to bring to the table.
The Chelan County Superior Court gets all the attention. I mean, that's the heavy-duty stuff. That's the big-time felonies and the stuff that ends up in the news. District Court is another another can of beans altogether. In fact, a lot of people really have no clue what a district court is or what it does. They have very few, if any, contact with them. So give us District Court 101.
Yeah. So it's funny. My brother teases me because I have as much or more experience than some of the Superior Court judges as a lawyer. He's, why are you going for district court? Why would you want that job? District court to me is really special because, number one, you see the most number of people, but you also see people who are coming to court for maybe the first time ever, or it might be the only time they have contact with the court system. So that's an important interaction. They'll remember that forever. So if they're treated with dignity and humanity and respect, no matter what the outcome, they'll remember that, and that will affect how they think about the county and the judicial system. And quite frankly, in some people's eyes, the judicial system as a whole has taken a few hits lately, reputation-wise. And so how people think about the judiciary is very important to me and important to the county. What district court does is there's criminal elements that are a year in jail or less. Those are misdemeanors. Then there are infractions, red light tickets, parking tickets, traffic tickets, those sort of things. And then there are civil lawsuits from $100,000 and down. Everything over $100,000 is now the Superior Court jurisdiction. And then there are some specific issues like debt recovery, garnishments, protection orders, that sort of thing. So there are miscellaneous civil calendars and criminal calendars, and district court sees far more cases than Superior Court on a daily basis. I haven't done the numbers, but a couple hundred plus cases in a day. And I've been a part-time judge the last 2 years, so I'm doing that work. I've done that work as recently as this month. So there's days where I have hundreds of cases in a day. You have to be ready for all those legal issues and those questions at a moment's notice.
Are you at the point where you can pretty much weed the garden just by glancing at various briefs that this case has merit and demands more attention, that this might be a little more on the frivolous side? I mean, every case deserves their full attention, but most judges will tell you that that's, you kind of have a sixth sense on what really is a case that demands more attention than others.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to do this as a judge. I really put my homework in. And so on the days where I'm a judge, I come early and I make sure that I review everything on the calendar. I stay late and I prepare for the next day. And so I put extra time and effort into it because of that point you're making, that every case deserves the highest level of justice. But it's true that both on the bench, but also from my 21 going on 22 years of practicing law, I've been on the other side of these cases as well. And so I can recognize them from both sides, and you do kind of get a feel for this is where this case is going and this is where that case is going.
If it ever gets to the point where, okay, I'm going to fight this traffic ticket and I'm going to go to court, fairly nerve-wracking, especially if you just want to go there and say, I don't think I did this or whatever. How do you make somebody who stands in a courtroom, which is an intimidating place to be, more relaxed so they can get their point across? Because it could be nerve-wracking.
That's an interesting question. So in this entire, 10 plus months of campaigning now, I haven't been asked that before. It's all about the kind of courtroom that you run and the relationships that you sort of foster and in the environment that you enhance. So for me, I have a very, while it's strict, it's a very understanding courtroom. It's a courtroom of compassion and empathy. And so I immediately engage with people. I greet everyone. I sort of direct them to what table to go to, what they can expect. Here's why we're here. Here's what we're going to do. So I give them the roadmap already. But it's amazing how much just eye contact and reaching out and giving a smile can mean to someone and can disarm them and help them to participate in this important process.
Judges are not policymakers. They don't get to set policy. You have guardrails. You have the RCWs in your law library, and you just take a case and you apply the law as it is, and that's basically the gist of it when it comes to this kind of thing. I mean, how much leeway do you have in certain aspects? Not a lot, really.
Yeah, there isn't. So it's highly contextual. Mm-hmm. And so depending on the case, if it's a criminal case or a civil case or the question that's before the court, there can be a lot of discretion as to where you're going to rule and how things are going to come out. For the most part, I follow the law. I don't bring, everybody has their own politics, their own religion, their own personal beliefs and backgrounds. I don't bring that with me on the bench. I do everything I can to simply apply the facts to the law, and that will tell me where the outcome should be. We do have discretionary motions where there are judgment calls, and frankly, much of good lawyering is putting those judgment calls to the test in front of a judge. And so there are suppression motions, there are witness and evidentiary questions on civil cases. So there's a lot of things that judges do have discretion in, but you're more framing the issues in the case than simply deciding policy on a absolute yes or no level that determines the outcome of a case.
Your endorsements, you got some pretty heavy hitters here. Retired Judge John Bridges has endorsed you. Bart Vandergrift, a great guy. Jerry Lee Crawford, the mayor of East Wenatchee, and others as well, and some heavy hitters in the law community. Not a comfortable thing, I suppose, to either. I mean, I'm assuming that it's not comfortable for you or anybody to seek an endorsement from a public figure.
I've never done anything like this. I've never been involved in politics. Before this, I didn't even consider that I would. So the story here is that 2 years ago, the retiring judge, Roy Four, came to me in the courthouse parking lot and said, "John, I'm going to retire. I'd like you to run to replace me." And at the time, that wasn't in my plans at all. So my gut reaction was, I don't want to do that. I'm a successful lawyer. I'm comfortable where I'm at. But that's when I started part-time judging. And I fell in love with the job because it's not about me at all. It's about what a judge can do for the community. It is absolutely a position of service. And if your if your focus at all times is how can I help the community, how can I, where appropriate, help people in front of me, a good judge can really make a good difference. So I got inspired and decided to run. The whole entire process has been a learning experience for me. I don't have a campaign manager. It's my wife and I doing it. So it's been a bit of a school of hard knocks through the process. It isn't easy calling people asking for endorsements. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable. It isn't easy doorbelling. It isn't easy judges can't ask for money, so it isn't easy recruiting people to do campaign drives and financial asks for you. The entire thing has been a great learning experience for me. But I think we've run a great campaign. Everything I'm hearing is really positive, and I'm very proud of where we're at this point.
When you're elected county commissioner, city council member, anything that is a policy-making governmental job, a lot of people don't know this. Once you win and you're certified, you go off to school. You go to school in Olympia for about 4 days to learn the basics of what your job entails, Robert's Rules of Orders, all of that other stuff. Is there a judges school in that regard?
Yeah, so lawyers have continuing legal education that we have to go and do a certain number of hours every to
keep your license.
Every reporting period, it's I think 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Judges have the same judges school and judges college, and if you're a new judge, you go straight to school, and there is that preliminary period where we sort of teach you the ropes. Do as much as we can to let you go, take the training wheels off, and start. Luckily, I've already sort of learned on the job. I was judged for the entire month of April earlier this year. I've been judged for jury trials. I've been judged for every issue that comes in front of district court in the last 2 years. So while I encourage any additional training and help, because I want to be a really good judge, it's important to me, I'm already doing the job at a high level. And frankly, if you look at my other endorsements, I've got a lot of legal community, and virtually all the lawyers that practice in district court are endorsing me. And what that says is they've seen me doing the job, and they want me to keep doing the job.
You mentioned jury trials. What happened to jury trials? Don't see much of those anymore, either at the district court level or at the superior court level.
Yeah.
Doesn't really happen much. Used to happen all the time. But is it me or a trial before an impartial judge and jury? It's not really happened much, at least around here lately.
Yeah, interesting question. So there's 2 different issues, the civil side and the criminal side. On the civil side, the financial game has changed. And so the insurance companies, who are usually the people holding the purse strings, understand where the value on cases are, and they can sort of budget things to say, well, once we've gone through the motions on sort of a pre-trial practice and we're getting ready for trial, we know what the exposure is, and we know what it's going to cost the plaintiffs to bring this case. So if we make an offer around here, it will be low enough where it will save us money from exposure, but it will be high enough where the other side can't say no and can't risk the money. So financially, on the civil side, that's where we've lost a lot of our jury trials. On the criminal side, it really depends on local culture. And much of that has to do with the collegiality and professionalism between the prosecutors and the defense bar. We've got a great bar here where while we zealously fight for our own clients' interests and there is strong advocacy, we also get along. And so we're able to very productively talk about the issues and negotiate. So there are some cases that need to be tried where there's an offer that isn't low enough and the defense is strong enough where it just has to be tried because it's clear that you don't know which way this is going to go. But for most cases where the evidence is clear and negotiation can be a productive exercise, these cases, it's good to get them resolved. I've practiced in other jurisdictions. When I first started my career, I was doing defense work in Boise, and I had a jury trial every 3 weeks. And for the first few years of my career, I was just trial. So it depends on where you're at. I think it really is a compliment to our local bar and judiciary that we get along and we work on cases in a productive way.
2 more questions, John, then we'll cut you loose. I know you're a busy guy. This sounds kind of a goofy question, but I ask all judicial candidates, should judges be elected? Should they have to stand for office? I mean, they put you in a pretty narrow box as far as what you can and can't say out on the campaign trail. I'll bring up an example. A good friend of both of ours, Judge Small, recently retired. I asked him this question when he was on the show, and his philosophy is a judge, either district or superior, should be elected for a short 2-year term to prove that you can do the job competently and with professionalism and decorum, and then they can stand for re-election for 1 extended term, and that would be it. So he kind of wants to split that a little bit. So I'll ask, and I thought that was an interesting way to do it. I'll ask you, should judges be elected, or should they be appointed by members of, or at least nominated by members of the bar, and then go from there? I mean, I know there's 2 different schools of thought on that.
Yeah.
There are people who just aren't comfortable voting for a judge. I don't know,
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Different states do it differently. Many states, I was recruited out of law school to practice in Idaho, and in Idaho, judges aren't elected, they're all appointed. And for 2 terms, so I guess that was 8 years, I was on what's called the Magistrate Commission, who interviews the judges and decides who gets appointed. And I thought that was a really great process. The problem with, there's pros and cons. The problem with appointing is twofold. One, you get the possibility where you have someone who has friends or connections and gets passed through to an appointment instead of elected by the general populace. So there's problem 1. Problem 2 is you get people that apply and they might not be as invested in the position because they haven't had to go through the process of a campaign, which is a very difficult, expensive, and labor-intensive process. So they haven't really proven it. They don't have the skin in the game. On the other side, making it politicized and making it a campaign-driven process like Washington does, you can have a chilling effect where good candidates might not want to apply because the process is so difficult. You also look at, if you politicize it, will the best candidate win, or does it become a function of money or campaign strategy or a flashy slogan? Is it better to have judges and lawyers and people educated on what makes a good judge make the decision? So there really are pluses and minuses both ways. I think the voters in Washington get it right. I have a lot of faith in the Chelan County voters, and so I'm very optimistic about how it's going to go for our campaign here, starting in about 3 days when ballots go out.
And I agree with you on that. In that regard, I think the voters in not only in Chelan County but all of North Central Washington have done an excellent job of electing highly qualified people for this very important position. One last question, John. I'll cut you loose. Strange scenario presented itself about a month ago. Judge Four is retiring. This is the seat that both John and Alan Blackman are running for. And then, wouldn't you know it, the other judge, Kyle Mott, has announced he's going to be leaving the courtroom and going back into private practice. How does that work with you and Alan on Is there a distinct possibility that both of you are going to end up serving on the district court now that Kyle has decided to go back to private practice?
Yeah, interesting scenario. No one saw this coming. It was a surprise to everyone. I can't say what's going to happen. I know that the county commissioners reached out to me and asked me to, in an abundance of caution, apply for the appointment for Judge Mott's empty position, as well as proceed with the election. I fully intend to go ahead, and we think the election is going to have a positive outcome for our campaign, but I am going to put in for that appointment as well. Is there a distinct possibility that my opponent and I are both district judges come January 1st? Yeah, that's a distinct possibility, and frankly, we're both qualified candidates. And so what's interesting about this election is it just gives the voters choice. There's some clear differences. And so the voters get to choose for who they feel most comfortable with. But yeah, it is possible that the two of us, after going round and round on this process, might both be wearing the black in a few months.
Jon Volyn, again, running for Chelan County District Court Judge position number 1. It's a 4-year term. Your ballots are coming shortly, if they haven't already. Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th. And hopefully this conversation helped you make up your mind on this very important and somewhat underrated public position. Jon, thanks for coming in and joining me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Take the rest of the day off.
Oh, you can't do that. Doorbell and sign waving. I'm back at it.
I can take the day off. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back. Crystal's Restaurant and Lounge in Leavenworth has a warm environment to enhance your dining experience. Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Crystal's Intimate Lounge is a wonderful place to relax and dine with beautiful views of the mountains. Do you have a special occasion coming up? Call Crystal's to reserve their event space. Whether your event is grand, intimate, or casual, Crystal's provides unforgettable food and superb service. Crystal's Restaurant and Lounge, proud to be serving fabulous food and drinks. All right, without further ado, because I am fresh out of ado, here's your forecast. Hit and miss showers for the day today, or afternoon high temperature right around normal. We're going to be right around 55, 56, maybe 57 degrees, which is where we should be this time of the year. Do we have the weather graphic, Captain? The weather graphic. There it is. So again, hit and miss showers, kind of light rain this morning, then it tapers off, and then it picks back up again in the early evening hours. And again, we'll get up to about 57 or so. Clear tonight, no rain in the forecast, a little breezy at times. Going to be chilly, 35 for the overnight low. Tuesday looks to be fairly dry, just about a 30% chance of rain. The clouds will be hanging around again tomorrow, mid-50s for the afternoon high. I need to point this out, though. Snow level is going to be hovering right around 4,000 feet for the next few days. That's right at Stevens Pass. Stevens Pass today, right at the summit, expecting about 2 to 4 inches of snow. Again, in the last 3 or 4 miles on either side of Stevens Pass, and an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow tonight. They'll be dry on Stevens for most of the day on Tuesday, then more snow coming on US 2 on Tuesday night. And that is it for us. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.